This was once the home of the champions. A resilient, stable team. Played here for 3 years. But now change comes calling in Hyderabad. It's the same stadium but different hopes. Different head coaches at the helm. And different challenges, and the fans will be expected to make it difficult for the visiting sides. The Maidan is ready. This is the Gachibowli, prepped, primed, and ready once more. Bartok Beche used to roar here in his days, but it's been a shaky start. However, a return to familiar territory against Chennaiyin, the visitors. But backed by the fans, Hyderabad can hope again. No excuses over here, only expectations. Welcome to Let's Football. I've got Paul Macefield in company. It is a big day, bottom of the table clash, but one of them will open their account.
Or both of them.
Or both of them.
If it ends up as a draw, then they'll both walk away with a point. Big game. Big game for many reasons. Hyderabad look as though they've got to kickstart themselves. Chennaiyin have looked good in patches. They haven't had that consistency level for a full 90 minutes yet. So with the international break, with the teams being able to get on that training ground, I'm just wondering if that's what they've been working on, consistency levels.
And they will be happy that Punjab did not win the game yesterday, because they'd be staring up at a bigger gap then. Right now, one of these sides can still jump above them and level on points with Bengaluru.
No, it's scary, isn't it? I mean, not only that, could actually overtake them, couldn't they? Depending on the number of goals that are scored today. But no, I think that both sides haven't looked poor in their opening games. They've just lost out in the matches they've played, and it's just putting the ball in the back of the net. They've been let down by their strikers, let's be honest.
One of those strikers has been spoken about quite a bit, Jonathan Moya, in the squad. Not in the 11, but finally available. Joe Knowles as well, looking good, cutting down that left wing, but has to score yet.
Yeah, I like Knowlesy. When he gets in there, he doesn't waste the opportunity. 9 times out of 10, he hits the target and he makes the goalkeeper make a save. And that, for me, is vitally important, particularly if you're cutting him from a wide area.
A lot of pride as well for both these sides. Chennaiyin and Hyderabad have won trophies, 3 among them. And that's the kind of pressure, right? When you win a trophy, expectations just go up.
Yes, they do. The fans expect and they want it. It's not a question of needs must, but they've got to go out there and they've got to start performing. We know that Owen Coyle has spoken and talked about this being a project and it's a bit longer term. So he's happy with where he is and his team at the moment. But I think that Hyderabad, it was always going to be tough. Whoever took over after Manolo, it was going to be the poison challenge. It's not an easy job to take over someone who's so accomplished and who did wonderfully well as he did at Hyderabad.
Do you need a big personality when this kind of a change happens? A big personality exiting, and of course they've got a think tank now in Thangboy and Connor Nesta, but just the presence, they have to build on that.
I'll take you to Manchester United when Sir Alex Ferguson left, right? Would you want to replace it? Jose Mourinho was offered the job and he said, no, I do not want to follow him. And he turned that job down. It was David Moyes that took it in the end. And look where they are now. They're still trying to find that right blend, that right balance. Have they got the right balance here? Maybe it's the best way, with the two of them being together, Connor Nesta and also Thangboy, to be able to take the club forwards.
Some happy memories. But after 17-18, it's been a bit of a problem.
I was there. That was in Bengaluru, that one. I was there. That one's in Goa. Of course, that was a memorable night, wasn't it? Sahil Tavora. Oh my goodness gracious me. Where did that come from? Stunning strike from him. It really was. Unbelievable scenes.
And some of those players are still in the squad, and they have to remind themselves over and over again. But look at this record. After 3 games in the ISL, this is where they were in the league table.
Yes, I mean, it's okay for a pointer to just turn around and say this is where they are after the 3 matches, but football's not like that. Squads change. Now we end up coaches change. And let's not forget that Manolo obviously turned around and turned the fortunes around in some of those seasons as well.
And this is Chennaiin's positioning. The fact here is, after that 17-18 high, there's been a dip, and the dip has gone on, hasn't it?
It has, and it's unusual because Chennaiyin, they always had that high where they won it, then they were always awful the next season, then they were okay, then they won it, then they dropped again. So it's interesting that you'll hear Owen talk about this all season long, that this is a project that's not just a quick fix. This is going to take a little bit of time to put stability back into Chennaiyin.
We talk about old heads and experience. Crivellaro, massive experience in the ISL, and he has made an impact.
Oh, yes, ever since he first turned up. I mean, you know, he turns around, he knows where the back of the net is, he scores fantastic goals, scored an Olympic goal as well from the halfway line as well. I mean, he's always looking to get on the ball. He comes into areas that are difficult for defenders to go with him because he's running onto the midfielders. The midfielders don't want to drop off because then they're denying space, or they can't go and close their midfield players down. He's a very, very cute and a very, very clever player.
You spoke with Rahim Ali, and we will show you the interview in a while, but big year for him because now there is competition as well in that front three that Igor Stimac will pick. This is a year he must shine.
Well, he has to, but he can do it, and we've seen him do it. I love him. I like watching him. I think if you get the chance to watch him, Fuller, watch his first touch. His first touch is absolutely exquisite. You know he's been around the block, 56 games, only 7 goals, but he's assisted a couple of times as well. But he does create chances. Isn't afraid to have a pop either. So for me, they play him in a wide area. Sometimes they play him through the middle sometimes. So those stats maybe are a little bit screw, really.
Now, what about Jordan Murray? He's been carrying something for a while now, especially the hamstring, but seems to be fit. Once again, pedigree, 11 goals, more than Rahim Ali has in fewer games. He has it in him to change the mood in Chennaiyin.
He does, but he's got to stay fit. That's the biggest problem. He's always breaking down with these little niggles, these little knocks, and that's a bane of his life, you know, and it's a real problem because mentally it can get to you as a player. We know that in the past seasons, even when he was at Jamshedpur and when he was with other clubs as well, he needs to stay fit for a whole campaign.
Well, Jordan Murray, Rahim Ali, big names. And of course, we spoke with Owen Coyle and Rahim Ali before the game.
It's been a tough start to the season, but you've played well in patches. So, you know, you've got the most entries going into the penalty box of any team in the league. So at least you're creating the opportunities and chances. What have you been working on the break to make sure that you can convert those and score goals? Or have you still been working on trying to shore things up at the back?
You know, I think you're right, Mace. I think it's twofold. We know, you know, I mean, each of the games we've had the best first chance in each of the match to get in front. We haven't taken that. So we've had to work, as I say, obviously on that clinical edge, but equally we do have to be tighter against the ball. It's the same as well. I know we look at stats and facts and everything, but even in terms of our differential between expected goals and everything else, it's nowhere near what's happened. But ultimately that's football, Mace. But as I said to you, this is not about 1 week, 2 weeks. This is a long-term project. I mean, we have a different model to a lot of big spending clubs in the league, so we know incrementally we have to improve. We're playing against, I think, a side that's been very unlucky in their 2 games, I've got to say. They've been beaten by 2 wonder free kicks in each of the matches, so we know Hyderabad will be a tough test, but we're looking forward to it. And again, what we know is, as we move forward through the season, it's never how, as much as you want to win and as early as you can. It's not how you start in the league, it's how you finish. So we know as we move forward, we're certainly going to be better for it. But the sooner you start picking up points, the better. We've had a tough run as well with 3 of our first 4 games, including tonight away from home. Then we're getting a run of games of 3 games at home. So we want to capitalise tonight to set us up for those home games. But as I said before, it's never nice when you don't win, but there's no panic. We know exactly what we're doing. Sometimes things take time, as you know. Rome wasn't built in a day, but we will get better for sure as the season goes.
You scored in a friendly game during the international break. How important is that for your confidence?
Yes. As a person, as a player, we need confidence, and yes, of course, I have confidence, and I have confidence in my team that we will do better, and it is just a matter of time. Just if we click, then we get the momentum, and then when we get the momentum, we will keep going.
Well, the best part from Owen Coyle's interview that stood out was when he said, "You're right, Mace."
Yeah, go on, tell me. It doesn't happen very often, does it?
Well, focusing now on the defence, and Sirkovic coming here with a massive CV. Ryan Edwards is there as well. At some point, Mace, you're going to turn around and say, you demand more from these big players.
Yeah, you do. You want them to keep clean sheets. That experience is there to be able to talk to the likes of Bikash, Akash, and Kip, whoever's playing in that back line, and the keeper, whether it's Samit, whether it's Debjit. You need to be really strong and solid. I think it's just in those little wider areas that they do get caught. You can see that goal there. It was Bikash that got caught out of position and got sucked in. No matter how hard it is, you've still got to turn around and keep things tight. And they haven't defended too badly on occasions, but they've been done by sucker punches. when they're trying to chase something, they're trying to go after something, and when that happens, anything could happen. I mean, that was when the goalkeeper had to come off injured as well, right? So, you know, what can you do? I mean, that wasn't just a shocking goal. It was just, you know, somebody winning goal.
The worry is that Mohan Bagan were at times just toying with him throughout the game.
Yeah, but you're talking about Mohan Bagan. So you know, I mean, it's like talking about Real Madrid and, you know, Sevilla. They're totally different.
If there is a manager like who can do better, who can organize a team, it is Owen Coyle. So in a way, with that pedigree, you expect more, because maybe not from the team, because the manager on the touchline is Owen Coyle. You're like, hey, how can that happen?
Yes, you can go and you can absolutely lambast your players and you can really have a go at them. But at the end of the day, you've got to keep them all on side. And if they're not up to speed with what he wants, and that pre-season wasn't long enough for them. We heard the injuries, the problems with players coming a little bit later when we spoke to him earlier. So they haven't had the best preparations, in my opinion, from what Owen Coyle had said in that pre-match interview with some of the other questions asked.
They conceded the most number of chances in their own box. But at the other end, they've entered the opposition's penalty box the most number of times. They have to get better in both the boxes. Is that the story?
Yes, absolutely spot on. They've got to defend a little bit better, although they haven't looked that bad when they've been there. But going forwards, I mean, it's, you know, the number of entries they've had into the penalty box, what is it, 119, the most by any team in the ISL. But they couldn't hit a barn door with a banjo. They're not causing the goalkeeper to make saves. The conversion rate on them getting in there is absolutely terrible. You can see it's at 21%. And they've had 119 chances. So that's about 18 shots have hit the target. That's not good enough, and that's what Owen Coyle was saying. Again, he can't freshen up the bench because the players were injured. So now he's got that bench there. If people don't do the job, they'll be off and someone else will be on to try and do it.
You've been part of dressing rooms, and you know, football doesn't change when it comes to the dressing room atmosphere, but how much of it is in the head over a period of time? You're getting in the right areas and like, oh, we can't score.
Yeah. It can get to you. Yeah, it can get to you, particularly for the strikers when they're playing and they're going forwards and they're going through a little bit of a barren spell. You've just got to believe. You've got to have that belief and never, ever lose that belief as well. And in the dressing room, you might rib them, you might wind them up a little bit, but you're still with them and you're still behind them. And then you're just giving them as much as you can when it comes down to quality into the box so they can get on the end of things. Because when they get one, it'll be like London buses. 3, 4, 5, 6 all come at once. So, you know, it's just unfortunate it hasn't dropped for them at the moment.
It's a very Coyle thing as well, once it gets going and that momentum keeps building. But let's focus now on the home team, Hyderabad, and a lot of expectation on Joe Knowles and even Sana Singh. These players who were there under Manolo, do they talk on the side probably, hey, this is happening differently, this used to happen? Is it difficult to make that transition, not for the whole team, but also for the players?
Yes, it is, because new ideas, fresh ideas and new systems. It's actually quite interesting that they look as though they've reverted back to the 4-2-3-1 tonight. It's been a 4-3-3 that they've started this season with, but as you can see from the results, they haven't gone their way. And as Owen Coyle said, it was 2 stunning free kicks that have undone Hyderabad. But at times, they have looked all right. But at other times, they look very, very poor. So again, consistency levels, that's what we're talking about, Fuller, to be able to go through the season at that level and pick up points.
This is the 4-2-3-1 shape that Hyderabad are lining up in. Nikhil Pujari, of course, that's a given. But just in terms of the middle of the park, and we speak about Zhao and we speak about Tavora, but the man who's been brought in, Petteri Pennanen, you want to see more from him. The number 7 hasn't done enough, has he?
Yes and no. I think he's worked incredibly hard. You know, if you watch his work rate and you look at his numbers, they're not bad at all. He does get around the pitch, but it's that final pass. So maybe he's doing a little bit too much at running around the pitch. Knowles is the one for me that's looked the best. Knowles has looked very, very good and very solid for me because he comes in from that wide area. He always looks to try and test the keeper. Most of the time, he hits the target, and that's a big, big thing. But for me, they've got no Bartok Becci. They haven't got an out-and-out striker like we've seen in the past. Adadani was the other one a few years ago. That number 9 that can run through the middle and cause problems. You know, Philippe Amora isn't going to be that man for you. And that's where, in my opinion, Hyderabad will struggle this season.
What about the usage of Yasir as well? Because just reading on Twitter as well, from social media, where he's been used, it's a completely different part of the pitch.
It is, and that normally then takes time for you to get round to understand that role and what the coaches want from you. But I tell you something, you're never going to say no to the coach because you want to play in that starting 11. So all you can do is try and do the best that you can. It looks as though they're reverting him to where he wants to be today, so that's the interesting thing.
These are the numbers for Hyderabad. Passing accuracy is only second to Mohan Bagan, but you can pass the ball as many times as you want, side by side. What matters
I'll give you a medal.
are the goals. Well, Thangboy Singto, always honest, but we also had a chance to speak with Joe Knowles. Here's the interview before the game.
Hi Joe, always good to see you. How big's the difference coming to India, having played last season at Brisbane Roar?
I'd say obviously the atmosphere is a lot different. It creates a very different type of game. It's very transitional, very attacking, and obviously the fans get behind that and make it a very exciting place to be.
How would you describe your role in the team?
Obviously the first couple of games it's been a bit tough. Obviously I've been working very hard back and forward, trying to create chances, obviously on the attack, and then obviously help out the defence on the way back. Yeah, because it is so transitional, it's hard to kind of save your energy for those attacking moments. But yeah, look, I'm just trying to do my part for the team, trying to create chances so we can score some more goals.
You are doing that and you're getting into the box regularly and you've actually got a really good percentage of actually hitting the target. Are you frustrated that you haven't opened your account yet?
Yeah, definitely. After last week, the first half especially, I thought I had a couple of great chances where I could have put a couple away, but I go back to the drawing board and I worked harder in obviously the break and the few weeks we had of training, and hopefully I can put that right tonight.
Hope you do, Joe. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.
Good luck. So has the international break helped you with training because you've been able to get the boys all together and on that training pitch?
Maze, I think it's about balancing out. It's not about the training part, I would say. It's about, after training, what you do as a group too. I think the boys have been working hard both on the pitch and off the pitch, and trying to understand the new style of play and of course how we would like to go ahead as a team. So it has been good for us, like any other team would do. We have tried our things. Hopefully we try something different today, and hopefully we have a good game today.
You said you're going to try something different. Any changes?
Well, I think that I think you already might know, but let's see. Once the whistle blows.
All the best for today for the 3 points.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thanks,
man.
Thangboy.
Thank you.
Always fun to talk to, Thangboy Singto. Very expressive with his hands as well. Well, this man, Jonathan Moya, is not starting, but finally in the matchday squad. Thangboy saying that he had a bit of a hammy issue, but now he's back.
Be interesting to see when he gets his opportunity and his chance, and more importantly, can he take it? That's why I said they've been missing that focal point and that focal figure up top. They've had it with Aradani, they've had it with Bartok Beche, and now Moya will be the man that can take up that mantle when he gets his opportunity and chance. Will he be the goal scorer? Can he be the difference? Can he help push Hyderabad to that next level?
One thing they've done is they've clearly taken a decision saying Felipe not doing good enough out of the team right now. But Pennanen also has to step up. But just coming back to Felipe, you mentioned he can't do that focal role. He's more of a winger. He's been used there. It's a bit confusing which player is going to be used.
Yeah, it is, and that's why, again, it's very difficult in transition of changing of the management. So what are they going to do? How are they changing things? What are they playing differently? How are they playing differently? It's been 4-3-3. Today's a 4-2-3-1. So they're going back to the tried and tested because they know that the majority of the players can play in that system. Tavora, Victor, there's all no issue, no problems there. Pennanen is going to be wearing, or as it is, the number 10 role, sitting in that hole, getting forwards ahead of Aaron De Silva, and also coming and tracking back in as well to put challenges in.
At some point, a side does look at the roster they have, the transfer market they've had, and then they look at January as well. Felipe Amorim has to start firing. Came in with a lot of fanfare. People expected a lot.
Yeah, I think we expect a little bit too much from him. And again, it's when anybody moves to a new country, any player in Europe as well, it does take a little bit of time to settle in to the surroundings, to understand, what you see in the culture, the people, your teammates, the style that they want you to play. So maybe we're being a little bit too judgmental initially after only a couple of games of the season for Felipe.
And what does it tell you about the ISL now? Just in general, how difficult it has become for players to come in and adjust.
That means that you've got to book your ideas up and you've got to turn around and come in and you've got to hit the ground running. No more nonsense, no more free meals, no more free tickets for anyone. You've got to come and earn your corner here, and you've got to come and you've got to do the business. If you don't do the business, get out, because that is now down to the recruitment of the teams and who they go and recruit, how they recruit, which players they recruit to be able to come and fit in straight away to the system and to the team that they want to build.
It is brutal nowadays in Indian football.
It's been brutal before, and not just in Indian football. I'm on about all over the world, and it is a brutal game, and sometimes you've got to make very, very tough decisions, but it is definitely getting stiffer. The competition for places, and also for these foreign players coming in, it's getting tougher and stiffer year on year.
15 penalty box entries for Connor Shields. He's been played out wide as well. Put in a lot of crosses. Now, the number 9 shifted out wide, putting in crosses. There's nobody in there. Slightly disjointed.
Couldn't get on the end of his own cross.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but again, you've got to look at the rest of the team and what's been missing there. Who should be putting the ball into the box then? If he's not there, sometimes strikers get frustrated and will make those runs out into wide areas just so they can have a touch of the ball and get a feel of the ball and then whip one in themselves. They forget that their job is actually in that 18-yard box to be able to get on the end of things. But again, that's just born out of frustration, because all you want to do is you just want to play and you want to be on the ball. You want to show your abilities to everybody out there watching.
We've spoken about the Vora, we've spoken about Penanen as well, but just shifting focus to the Chennaiyin midfield and the initial surge from Batokyo. And when he came through, when we started watching him play, we thought, wow, he's got this X factor, but he's all over. He's going all over the pitch. Is he required to stay slightly higher?
I like him. I think he's unlucky to be left out of the starting lineup today, but what do you want to do? Do you want to have someone who can get on the ball and pass it like that and try and dictate that? Or do you want someone who's going to create havoc when they've got the ball at their feet? Criviaro can do that, so that is why he's chosen today.
Well, it was a tough week in fantasy. It was a reduced match week in fantasy jargon.
Do not start me on this.
Double match weeks, reduced match weeks. This is all the new football jargon, Mace. You've got to get on it.
I've tried to change my team. I don't know what I did. I pushed a button and then I had a whole new team, and I go back to my old team next week.
Let me explain what this guy has done. He's the leader in this week's fantasy. He's played a bench boost, so all those points are added on. So he's got 50 plus Criviaro to play. What about that?
That's not a bad shout to be fair. I've only got 18 points.
He was hoping for a 0-0. Look at that. Look at that back line. It's a triple up, Jamshedpur.
I know, I only had one. I had Renish in goal.
That's why he has 50 and you have 18 points.
How many did you get, by the way? You've kept quiet today about that.
34, 35.
No, you
average,
haven't.
Average,
no, you haven't.
average.
No. This match round.
I've got Joe Knowles though, and he hopefully will score tonight. But Rafa Criviaro, is he now undroppable for Owen Coyle?
No, he can be dropped. No problems, no questions about that. If he doesn't do the business, Coyle will take him off, or he won't start him. We've seen that he's not afraid to do that with big name players, and he's done that before in the past with certain players that he's had when he was at Jamshedpur and of course Chennaiyin before.
Here's a question though, Mason. If this was not Owen Coyle, and if this was not a new management at Hyderabad, they've just played 2 games. If this was not Owen Coyle, would we already be using the pressure word? 3 losses in a 22-match league season?
Yes, a little bit of pressure. I mean, I asked that question to both of the managers before the game. Do they feel the pressure? Chennaiyin on the hand, they're away from home, so is there less pressure? There's more pressure on Hyderabad because they are at home. I mean, these two sides are at the bottom of the table. The table doesn't lie. 0 points. Somebody's going to get something today.
You can watch the game on all these channels, and we don't get the chance to do this too often, but predictions, I heard that you expect goals. What do we expect scoreline?
Oh my goodness, I'm going Chennai 3-2.
Chennai 3-2. So entertainment guaranteed, since Paul Macefield has said so. Stick around, the game is up next.